Welcome to Represent NYC. My name is Darlie Gervais, coordinator of the Advertising Boost Initiative, a program of the Center of Community Media at the CUNY Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism. In today's topic, we will discuss a new law sponsored by 11 City Council members on the establishment of an Office of Ethnic and Community Media and requirements regarding New York City agencies' spending on advertising in ethnic and community media. We will also discuss what this new law means for the community and ethnic media sector. On July 18, New York City enacted a new law passing the City Council to establish an Office of Ethnic and Community Media. The law also makes permanent a 2019 Mayor Bill de Blasio executive order committing at least 50% of the total city government agency advertising budget to community and ethnic media. This law makes the new Office of Ethnic and Community Media responsible for coordinating agency advertising to the city's diverse communities. This bill will also require agencies to devote 50% of their advertising spending, including on print and digital publications and TV and radio outlets, to ethnic and community media. It is a pleasure to have with us today representative of the local and community media sector in New York City. C.Zawadi Morris, publisher of BKReader, Kamlesh Mehta, chairman and publisher of the South Asian Times, and Lyudmila Balabay, editor-in-chief of the Forum Daily. Thank you all for being here. We're gonna start with everyone. Tell us a little bit about their publication. C.Zawadi?
Hi, yes, good morning. Thank you for having me, Darlie. My name is C.Zawadi Morris, and I'm owner and publisher of a digital daily news site called BKReader. Founded in 2013, BKReader covers 9 primarily underserved and under-resourced neighborhoods across Central and East Brooklyn. We are the first and only woman-owned and Black-owned digital daily in the entire state of New York. Thank you again.
Lyudmila?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I am Lyudmila Balabay, editor-in-chief of Forum Daily. We mostly work for Brighton Beach because this is where Russian-speaking community lives in New York. And we cover news about immigration, about life in New York, some life hacks. Our newspaper is working in this shape as now from 2015. So that's all. Thank you.
Kamlesh?
Namaste, everyone. Hello. I'm the publisher and chairman of the South Asian Times. South Asian Times is in print and on a website since 2008. We cover all the 5 boroughs of New York metro area, as well as Long Island in New Jersey. Those people who come to New York City to work every day. We are the most read, and we are available in many public libraries in New York metro area. And our newspaper is one of the bridge between the South Asian Indian American community and the mainstream community. We are available in many public libraries. And since our inception, 2008 till today, we never missed any print publication. Even during the pandemic, we were always in the print and distributing. We are really very happy to talk to you, and thank you, Darlie, for the opportunity.
You're welcome, Kamlesh. During the lockdowns to contain COVID-19 in 2020, community-based business drastically cut back their spending on advertising that many community outlets relied on. Revenue from city agencies that proved to be the lifeline small news outlet like you or your publication needed to keep disseminating crucial news to your community. From the outset of the pandemic, the Center for Community Media began receiving calls from alarm publishers. And CCM survey publishers that spring, and respondents revealed that they had lost 100% of their revenue from local businesses. The executive order signed by Mayor de Blasio during that hard time had allowed for more than 200 local and community media to receive nearly $10 million in ad revenue. Please, each of you, talk to us about the impact that executive order had on your publication.
So first, I just want to, establish and make sure that everyone understands that right now the news industry is definitely quaking. It was prior to the pandemic. It continues to be going through a lot right now. We've lost a great deal of our revenue because of the current model that we have, which is now trying to keep pace with technology. So this issue of advertising and subscriptions and not being able to bring in the revenue was existing before the pandemic. For my publication, specifically, I was very much so on the brink of possibly shuttering and closing my publication even before the pandemic. So I felt that the pandemic, you know, initially when I heard that all the businesses were shutting down, we were going into quarantine, I thought that was the nail in the coffin quite often, being quite honest. So I really thought that was the end of it for BKReader. So not only was this a lifeline and a lifesaver, having this executive order go through at the time that it did, but it's something that I feel should be sustained because the issue that we have with advertising has been, you know, longstanding, and it not only allowed me to keep the operations going, but to even ramp up my resources, to ramp up my staff, and to meet the needs of the community at such a critical time. Because as you know, Brooklyn, New York City as a whole was devastated by this pandemic in the early months of it. And we were the hot spot, we were the hotbed. And because of this, and probably only because of this, I was able to do the work that was needed to be done to help my community stay informed on a daily basis. So this has been very critical and essential, and has actually done a lot to revive BKReader.
Zawadi, what you had said is the same issues that many publishers had echoed. Community media advocates who had long fought for more public investment in this critical media sector had welcomed the new law. Now, we just say that in this executive order needs to stay. So now that we have a new law, the law Intro 2313 passed with 45 city council votes on June 17 and was approved by 11 votes on July 18, 2021. This law mandates that city government agencies devote 50% of their advertising spending to community and ethnic media. Kamlesh, talk to me how this new law will impact the sector.
Darlie, this new law, it is really like a oxygen to the ethnic media. Like we just heard, due to the pandemic, there were many media outlets, they were about to close. Some of them are closed, and many, they could survive only because of the policy of Mayor Bill de Blasio to support the ethnic media by 50% of advertisements. Now this becoming a law that all the city agencies, they have to give 50% of their ad money to the ethnic media. I think it is going to serve the community in many different ways. Helping media is like is a pillar of the democracy, and they can really reach out to each and every person in the New York City through the media, and they can convey the message, their policies, what is happening in the city, all these things, all from the media, and media cannot survive without support from the city. New York City knows, the leaders knows very well that businesses are suffering. Many businesses are closed. They could not support the newspapers and other media outlets. Right now, in current time, if the ethnic media, small media outlets, if they don't get the help from the city, they will be really in a very critical situation. So I think this new law is going to help a lot, not only to survive and sustain, but to serve the community also.
Thank you, Kamlesh. We had mentioned earlier, already with that executive order signed by Mayor de Blasio in 2019, 84% of the budget, $12 million budget for all city agencies advertising, 84% went to community media. CCM Advertising Boost Initiative had published a report last December. And in that report, we found that 185 outlets saw dramatic increase in their ad revenue from city agencies. I would like to ask Lyudmila, what were you able to accomplish with that increase of revenue?
This money was a lifesaver for us, like for a lot of media, but except that, they also gave us a chance for development. We improved the site and we are building a kind of listing for the local advertising and trying to help and support small businesses with the discounted advertising, because New York City agencies are helping us to survive. So we can help some small businesses with advertising because we already have money for the newspaper working properly. That's why I can say that this kind of money and this kind of support for the newspaper is helping not only the newspaper, but also some small community businesses in New York.
Yeah, thank you, Lyudmila. Well, of course, the cash infusion in local and community outlet last year surely benefited, all of you and your publication. But it also delivered to city agencies a powerful tool to reaching the people it most needed during the devastating public health crisis. The census campaign and other New York government campaign that they have, because your media sector served New Yorkers in all 5 boroughs and more than 30 languages, in English and more than 30 other languages. Can you all share with the public how local and community and ethnic media connect, one part local communities, but on the other part, immigrants that are culturally and linguistically diverse with their own local community? I would like each of you to weigh in and show that how much important it is to have local and community media.
First of all, we are Russian-speaking newspaper. We have, our site is working on a few languages, but the main one is Russian. So all the information which is coming from city agencies, we translate it into Russian language, which is spoken by more than 300,000 people in New York. Russian language, as you know, is spoken by all post-Soviet countries. So it's not only people, immigrants from Russia. All the information about discounted medical insurance, all the information about some programs which are helping people with disabilities, which helping senior people, and a lot of city programs, we write about it in Russian language, and Russian speaking immigrants get this information and they know what to do, they know where to go, and it's helping them to improve their life. So the city agencies, by supporting community media, they widespreading the information in different languages, and it's helping people, more people to understand and to be supported by the city.
Yeah, Kamlesh, talk to me about that connection between your publication and your community.
Darlie, as I said earlier, that we are in English and we are the largest newspaper. And we, every month, we have more than 2.2 million page views on our website. India is a big country. We have 23 different official languages. And in New York area, there are more than 700,000 people from South Asia and the Indian, mainly from the India. The newspaper, they are published in English, Urdu, Punjabi, Gujarati, Malayali. There are many different languages also. And they are well connected with their own community where those languages are spoken. City has many programs, and many things happens. There are new laws, new services. It could be about housing, it could be about health, it could be about immigration, and so many things. How does the community people know? They learn through the local media, the ethnic media. And here, I think the South Asian Times is playing a major role in conveying the message from the city to the community. And the whole community is being benefited with the programs and projects of the city. I would say again that even a small media or big media, could be print or online, directly or indirectly, they are helping their communities as well as the local government. It is win-win for everyone.
Thank you, Kamlesh. Zawadi, news organization in the community and ethnic media sector ecosystem have been facing challenges for years, despite the fact they reach more than 50% of the city's population. I would like you to talk about some of the challenges your publication is facing.
So most of the challenges that we're experiencing right now are tied to, finances, tied to our revenue. And there's a lot that we're able to do on a hyperlocal level if there is a consistent stream of revenue. So everything is tied back. So in terms of challenges, everything is tied back to whether or not we'll have access to that revenue stream. I think that was most demonstrated, and its importance, it was most demonstrated during the pandemic, because that infusion of advertising dollars that we got during the pandemic enabled us to do very critical things to help inform our communities on a hyperlocal level. So there was a lot of information that was being made available, of course, across the country on a national level, and even on a citywide level, there was a lot of information. But during COVID, because we were quarantined, it became even more punctuated how important hyperlocal was to our communities, because people needed to understand, since they were in their homes, what was available to them right there in their neighborhoods. People were not moving as much, and they didn't know what sort of organizations they could turn to. And that's where hyperlocal, for me, and community media stepped in. We, through the funding that we got from the city, we were able to, we had a geolocation. We're the only hyperlocal site in New York City that has a geolocation function, where people can put in their zip code and find out what stories have been published right around them within blocks of where they're living or their location. So that was critical. We also, through that funding, was able to set up a live COVID tracker. We were the only site as well that had a community COVID tracker. So the 9 neighborhoods we covered, we had a map that showed how many cases and how many hospitalizations and how many deaths were happening. And it was updated every hour. And that wasn't something that we necessarily put together. We paid for another company to do that, but we were able to do that because of that infusion of cash. That was so critical to our readers to be able to see, by their zip code and neighborhood, how many deaths were happening, and to track that. We were also able to establish a live database where the community could upload information on what resources were around. So I was talking very intimately with the organizations that were right in our neighborhoods and how we could work and collaborate together. And that was something that I don't think a city newspaper or a legacy newspaper would have been able to do, but we were able to do that.
Zawadi, if you get an increase in ad revenue with the new law, what will your publication do?
Well, I think right now, in the 8 years that we've been around, we've kind of gotten a sense of how to run the paper and run it well. And we've got a sense of the needs of the community. So I think we would scale, because we're only right now covering 9 of the 32 neighborhoods that exist in Brooklyn. And so I would love to scale out to more neighborhoods and cover more neighborhoods. We're daily getting news announcements and press releases from other people in other neighborhoods that we don't cover, that I have to turn down. We don't cover Williamsburg, we don't cover Greenpoint. There's many other very important neighborhoods that are surrounding us that we simply don't have the resources and the bandwidth and the human resources to meet. So, I think more would allow us to not only, just tighten up the new site, but also scale to more neighborhoods.
Kamlesh, the same question. If you get an increase in ad revenue, what will your publication do?
Right now in our newspaper, it is 32 pages. 1 page of our 32 pages is dedicated to the local governments, which covers the New York City, as well as some part of Nassau County, some part of New Jersey also. What we think that there is more information should be shared with our readers. So we may increase our size of the newspaper from 32 pages to maybe 36 to 40 pages, and we will dedicate another 4 or 6 pages to the local governments, to the local policies, what is happening in the government level and how that can be benefited by our community. We will have a much larger exposure on those things. So of course, we can use that revenue to develop our newspaper, and it is going to empower not only our newspaper, it is going to empower our community also. We need the continuous support of New York City sharing their ad revenue with all ethnic media.
Thank you, Kamlesh. With all your testimonies, it has been proven that city advertising can and will keep small news outlets alive to continue disseminating vital news to their diverse communities. Lyudmila, I would like to hear from you as well. If you get an increase in ad revenue compared to what you got the last fiscal years, what will your publication do?
I told you already that we started to make listing, something like Russian-speaking Craigslist in New York City, but we now only in half of the process. So we would finish making this listing and to connect local businesses with local customers in Brooklyn. And I would like to hire more people because now we given like 10, 15 articles every day. And I would like to make it more because there is more news, more information that has to be covered and that can be useful for the local readers. So I think I would hire more people and it would be good.
Thank you, Lyudmila. I would like now to talk about, after we establish that this is a necessity, what are some challenges publishers, editors have faced getting advertising or getting in touch with representative of New York City agencies? Did you have any kind of difficulties?
Yes. So I reached out to several agencies that I was made aware are working with the city a couple of months ago, maybe about 2.5 months ago, and presented them with my package, my advertising package, a little bit of background about the business, BKReader, and a little bit of background about me, and have followed up a few times and haven't heard anything back. So I feel as though, unless in these cases, because, you know, it could be because they're busy, these agencies are busy, it could be because they are sort of, I think corporate agencies tend to stick to, you know, best practices, what they're used to. So this mandate was critical. This executive order was critical because I find that a lot of times these corporations do not move unless they are mandated. And that's unfortunate. Mandates kind of disrupt, you know, standard practices, which is all about corporate. Corporate tends to want to stick to whatever they know and what they do. And that's what was so fantastic about an executive order. It was basically saying 50% should go here. Well, it would be nice if some of the other agencies in some way were interested, because right now we're only working with Miller for the most part. And there are many more agencies, not only here, but across the country that would like to reach the audiences that we serve. And it would just be nice, you know, if either this mandate was expanded or, you know, some of the other agencies were made aware of the benefits of advertising with us and were kind of nudged along a little bit. It would also be helpful too if, you know, right now I'm talking with an assembly member to propose a bill for legal notices, because right now print publications are able to receive legal notices, which account for about 20 to 25% of a lot of the revenue that comes into print newspapers, but that has not been made available to digital right now. And so I get calls all the time, got one yesterday from someone who wants to run a legal notice, but we're not able to publish legal notices on the digital side. So some sort of bill that could open that up would be very helpful and open up a new stream of revenue for us as well.
This is a great point, Zawadi. The new law, Intro 2313, had talked about the Office of Community Media. Before I talk about that as my last question, I would like to know what improvement you will want to see with the establishment of the Office of Community Media. What was not done during that mandate of Mayor Bill de Blasio, and during that advertising distribution you would like to see with the establishment of the Office of Ethnic and Community Media under the new law?
You know, we are also dealing with a couple of agencies who give us the advertisements from the city. And sometimes we had a conversation with them and they are placing the ad with the approval from the city offices. And I think there is no direct communication between us as well as with the people who decide who to give the ad, who not to give the ad. There should be some kind of event where all these people who make the decision to give the ad to newspaper, to any media, we should have some kind of interaction. They should learn about the media outlet. They should know about the circulation, leadership, their history, and then they should decide that which newspaper is worthy of getting the city's money and how much reach they have to the community. We are lacking that part, and I will suggest, if Darlie, you can do that job, convey the message to the city officials, telling them that they should have some kind of direct interaction with the media outlets.
Following the publication of the Center for Community Media Independent report, New York City community media publishers launched an open letter campaign to urge city legislators to make the executive order into a permanent law, but they also asked that New York state legislators adopt an equivalent program for state government spending. What hope do you have for such law to be passed statewide?
I think that's an excellent idea. I think that this what you all have led with, this executive order could actually be a lifeline across the country, across the state, across the country, if all cities participated in this way. I hope others take note and see the successes of this program. It's truly and clearly a lifeline for us. And if people believe in the merits and the importance of having veritable news available to them, daily news available to them, I think that this definitely should be something that should be considered.
To date, we have 70 editors and publishers who have signed the open letter, or we published the open letter. Lyudmila, talk to me also about your hope to see such law passed statewide.
I am one of the publishers who signed that letter, and I really hope that we will have the law like this, because there is plenty of state programs which can be important for Russian-speaking community in whole New York state. And some of them don't have this information, don't have access to this information. So it would be good if state government would work together with the local media on local level and give this information exactly to small communities, not on the big level on the side of the governor, and that's all.
Kamlesh, how do you think the Office of Community and Ethnic Media, how do you think this office will help community media sustain and grow?
It is going to help a lot to the all ethnic medias, because when you have a specific office with a specific objectives, it really help a lot. And once we have a ethnic media office in the office of mayor's office, and their main objective and focus and the action is to encourage and empower the ethnic media, it is like a direct engagement, and it will help a lot to improve the ethnic media as well as the relationship between the government and the communities, ethnic communities. So it is very important. I'm glad that this bill has been passed and it is being in action very soon.
Right now, publishers are trying to bundle and to be able to grow their revenue, offering a different kind of creativity to city agencies in order for them to disseminate government campaigns. I thank C.Zawadi Morris, publisher and owner of BKReader, Kamlesh Mehta, chairman publisher of the South Asian Times, and Lyudmila Balabay, editor-in-chief of Forum Daily. I thank you all for being there with us.